to pray. There's no angels where I go, only pieces that are broken, scattered dreams across the floor. I'm home.
Alrighty, hello everybody, this is Kira Show here. Now, whenever we last left off, Deku, he had just been in a bit of a accident. Now, what I mean by that is, the ensuing fight with the Templar basically killed him. But not Midoriya. Midoriya survived, but his artifact was destroyed. And actually basically shot into his body. A Brotherhood doctor helped Deku. They weren't sure if this was, well, just because the force of the shockwaves tearing apart his skin. They wouldn't put it past those artifacts. They've done weird things. And she didn't really realize that she should have looked a bit deeper into this, since it was old tech. Now, with that being said, Deku's had a bit of an experience. Apparently the pieces of Eden are stuck in his body, of the Koniar. So, the Brotherhood kinda has to look over him, and if they can, retrieve the pieces from his body. That may prove to be more difficult. So let's continue. Deku, he is driving. It has been a couple of hours, roughly around 4 to 5, and the sun is starting to come up. Deku is actually a bit tired though, and he would pull over at a gas station and park the car. They've been driving around town and, well, he's been going a little too fast. He needs to refuel. Along with that, he would pick up a coffee and other snacks, so that they will at least not have to stop for hopefully a little while. And he would get back in the car, after putting about 40 into the pump, and refueling the entire tank. Then they would leave. Deku just still driving. He's using his quirk to get green lights out the way, so that he will at least be able to get back to the highway fast enough. Along with that, there would be another call. Momo's phone is buzzing, and Deku kinda can't reach it. Momo would just roll over in her seat and pick up the phone, asking exactly who is this. To which they would just state that they are, well, an older member, as she would someone just jump out of her seat and put it on speaker, asking exactly why he is calling her, asking to speak to Midoriya. Midoriya, he is completely focused, asking what does he want. The man actually a bit surprised, saying that he is an elder, he will be treated with respect. Deku just saying that he understands that, but after what he's been going through and apparently the information he must know, you gotta understand that I'm freaking out. Yes, well, I can at least give you a break. Learning that you have ancient tech sitting in your body is probably not easy. The only other person we've known to interface with tech close to this was possibly Desmond. Who? Ah, don't worry. He was an ally, back during the 21st century. Okay. I'm guessing he did something similar to this, right? Close to it. Just never putting it into his body. Alright, so, as Deku continued driving, eventually having to pull over. They've gotten enough information and talked enough about it, so things will be at least easy to figure out. Along with that, Deku, whenever he does pull over, he has a bit of an episode. things start to form around him, and his eyes begin to glow with golden electricity. As he does at least hold his hand up and shoot it away from him. Everyone around somewhat watching, a bit confused. As Deku does drop to the ground, and begin to make a shockwave. He can feel his body doing this, so he would immediately turn and run out into the field. People somewhat watching as Deku would just create a large shockwave and send everything around him flying, it not being big enough to reach the car, but it at least shaking whenever it feels this. Momo actually running out after him, trying to get an answer to this, and help him. Deku just beginning to see everything. He's seeing memories or past, whatever this is. It's all confusing to him. And he's actually hyperventilating. Whatever is going on, he can clearly see Juno as he looks up, asking her what is happening. Her just saying that it seems that the artifact is trying to rebuild itself, using you as a foundation. Not really sure why, or even how. Her explaining that his quirk, it is being used, and or possibly even repurposed, to help. So, possibly you may get more answers if you find an apple. What does an apple have to do with this? Well, I'm not sure, but it is just a theory. This is all new to me as well, human. Deku getting annoyed. And this person just disappearing. Deku actually just looking around. Momo, she's laying about 10 feet away from him, and Deku is surrounded by scorch marks. And everything. As he stands up. A person would just say that he'll be fine, heroes are on their way. Deku actually being a bit, well, surprised and annoyed. Using his quirk to blink out their phones, and turning them off and shorting them out. As people are surprised. They don't understand what just happened. Why is their tech not working? Deku running past, and making a joke that his quirk probably just turned all their stuff off. It should all be fine. As he gets back in the car, in the passenger seat this time. Toga basically hopping in the driver's seat as Momo gets in the back, and they would speed away. Deku asking her if she's okay. To which she would just say yeah, but they're gonna have to look out for that. What's going on? It's... I don't know. Now, eventually enough time would pass and they would get back to this Creed's hideout. And Deku would be met with, well, assassins. All of them standing at the elevator, waiting for him to come down. As they would see Deku. Deku is in regular clothes, and he does at least show bandages around his arms. They would begin to look at them, and at least see what's going on with him. Basically meeting a doctor and meeting one of the older assassins. All of them talking. And one of the elders actually trying to get information from the doctor. The doctor trying to explain it. Finding that not really a lot of things do. Until Deku says what Juno told him. The doctor actually being surprised Deku knew that name. And that she seems to be back. Now, with that being said, Deku does at least get examined, and they begin to take one of the shards out of his arm. Seeing that it's actually quite one of the smaller fragments. As soon as they take it out of his arm, Deku actually does begin to act up a bit. His arm coursing with electricity and power. Deku just staring at it, trying to understand. What the hell? As the doctor would just tell Deku to calm down. Deku is calm, however. This is just happening. As he does look around, seeing something sitting on the table, asking the doctor if he needs that. The doctor saying no, and Deku asking if he can try something. The doctor agreeing, because what the hell is he gonna do? Deku just holding out his hand and blasting it. Actually a bit surprised. Now, before he can even think about that, he would create a shockwave, actually sending himself flying out of the room. And people would be surprised. They've been looking at Deku, but they thought he could control it. Clearly not. Meeting with an older member, as he would present the sword. Them actually being surprised. The last time they saw this sword, it was in the hands of someone bad and nefarious. So, here it is now. Destroyed. Broken in two. Along with quite possibly the most dangerous man on Earth right now. He has Eden Tech in his body. So, that's going to be difficult to explain to their order. Now, Deku would be told and instructed that they are going to be going over something different. But before that can even continue, this is whenever Tokoyami and Toru would walk up, asking what's going on. Deku actually turning to see them. It's been quite a minute, as he would just hold his hand up. Tokoyami doing the same, asking what is going on. The other assassins beginning to explain it to them. Apparently this and this happened, so Deku would at least take a minute to calm down and actually rest. The doctor basically examining this piece that he took out of Deku. Not really sure what it is, and finding it to be fascinating. It's basically like its own piece, not even connected. Along with that, whenever they do try and scan it or even get information from it, it seems to only have pieces and remnants. This may actually help us get into that door. Deku actually being surprised to hear that. He hasn't really been sleeping. He's just been listening to what they would say. Things they wouldn't say to his face. Wondering if they're going to say, oh yeah, he's going to die within this time span and this time span because of the Eden Tech rotting out his brain or something. He is still scared. This isn't something he's ever thought he'd had to deal with. Is he even technically still human? That's a bigger question. So, Deku would continue. And find that they're just saying that this is something undiscovered or even unseen. Now, with all that out of the way, this is whenever Deku would start talking with Toru and Tokoyami, and actually get to know what happened to them. After they got in UA, this happened, then they had to go through a whole thing. Heroes versus villains, all that. It was actually quite funny. Not a lot of people expected us to be as we are. Now, with that, this is whenever Deku would just try and get an explanation. Basically, it was Toru versus this guy and this guy, along with the fact that she had this girl on her team. Deku somewhat not really understanding. Her basically saying that she had a gravity quirk on her team. Then what was it? This ingenious brother, right? Deku somewhat laughing, saying that he's guessing that she kicked his ass, right? Her just saying that she hasn't gotten there yet. Along with some explosive asshole. Explosive. His quirk was explosions or something. Oh, I think I know that guy. Really? How? Well, what was it? I think it was roughly around the time I got shot. I think so. I remember this one kid was walking through tunnels and he was attacked by a villain. Then, yeah, whole complicated shit, but I blew up the lamppost and saved his ass. All Might tried jumping away with a bottle, and I ended up just killing the villain with acid. Oh, um, okay. Yeah, feels like a lifetime ago now. I did remember his quirk. It's probably that kid. Now, Toro just began to explain what happened at UA. She actually did have a fight. Her hero costume wasn't too, well, flashy, but she did at least try the assassin style of it, using a cloak, so things would be a bit simpler, along with her actual night classes coming along very fine, and her showing moderate signs of improvement. As she would just explain, whenever she was with this chick, they were actually the villains, so it was actually pretty cool. So, the two were actually defending the bomb. She basically got the girl to tap onto her and let her stay on the ceiling, being ready. The girl basically standing there. I also actually did set a tripwire at the door. Something that I thought would be at least useful. As soon as he opens the door, I could see it. And the girl would just drop me onto him. It was actually a foolproof tactic. I just didn't plan for something. Her explaining the fight. She's just basically on the roof waiting for someone to open the door. As soon as the door opens and Ida tries to run through, he would have tripped. Toru immediately falling, Uraka letting go of her gravity. Toru slamming onto Ida, ripping off his helmet and going to knock him out. Ida turning on a reciprocal burst for a second, to at least try and get away. As his engines would fire and he would actually begin to move. Just not the way he thought. He begins to spin in circles on the floor, and actually mess up, as his body slams into the wall, and he does get hurt. He would try to get back up, as Bakugo comes blasting with explosions. Toru somewhat ready, trying to think about this, as she would do one thing, grabbing down her belt and immediately throwing it up. Bakugo looking at this tiny thing, as smoke gets in his eyes. Her moving forwards and smashing her elbow across his nose. And getting ready. She needs to make sure that he stays down. So, she would make sure to try and disable him, stabbing into his gauntlets and actually just taking them off. She gets a hold of one. Bakugo actually being ready with his other one, trying to think, how the hell is she able to do this? Her quirk is just invisibility. So, Bakugo getting ready, pulling the pin on his grenade and All Might screaming no, as he lets out a blast. Her somewhat mimicking what he did, pulling the other pin and blasting directly at him. As the two would have a clash with these, All Might actually being impressed, seeing that she's actually getting in the way of the bomb so that Bakugo cannot hit it. Telling Uraka to actually move in, as she tries to come around. Bakugo dropping his gauntlets and trying to run forwards. He just needs to tap on that thing, so things will be okay. Him trying to blast over Invisible Girl. Her grabbing onto his leg and actually pulling him down to the ground. Uraka running over and actually grabbing onto Bakugo, as she was able to get him up in the air. And Ida is trying to still get up. He's probably broken something, but he should be fine. Then walking over. Her taking out the capture tape and actually wrapping around. And she wraps the capture tape around Ida. So, they were actually declared the winners. All Might was actually surprised about it. Really? All Might was surprised? Why? Well, he didn't really think that we could do it. Besides, it's not just that, he kind of wanted to talk to me afterwards. Really? About what? Well, it's about this, apparently his quirk. What do you mean? Well, he calls it one for all, but it's not just that. Apparently it can be passed down. So he wants to hand his quirk over to me. Deku actually saw him jumping up. That doesn't sound like a too weird quirk. But does that mean you'll get his strength and his speed too? I mean, he said that I'll actually be stronger than him. But even then, I'm not sure about it. I told him that I'll think about it, and that it would be tricky to think about, but still. You're stuck with a piece of Eden. I think I'd rather have his quirk than be in your situation. That's true. As Tokuyami and everyone else would walk into the room. Tokuyami saying that All Might actually did surprise us a bit. Apparently, he doesn't know about the creed, let alone that we are part of the Brotherhood. He's seen our outfits and everything, but he seems to turn away from it. I'm guessing they've approached him before, but he hasn't tried questioning us about it. Deku actually saying that that's at least good. So, they shouldn't be too worried. Now, as that happens, this is whenever the doctor would walk back in, holding a computer, and the piece they took out of Deku's arm. They would ask Deku if he can try something out for them. They want him to hold this piece in his hand and try and focus on it with his quirk. If he does, it might actually do something. And if he is correct, it might at least provide us with some knowledge. Deku actually listening. At this point, he has a couple of options. Basically, die with a piece of Eden stuck in his body, and probably be poked and prodded as if he were something to test, or, well, listen and find out what happens. He is weighing his options. Now, Deku would just do so, taking it in his hand and touching the computer, trying to at least focus on it. As his hand begins to glow, he can focus on this and feel the pieces in his body, but it's still somewhat weird, and will take time to try and get used to. So, Deku would just be focusing as he would open his hand up, the piece glowing, as it actually does begin to float up into the air. Deku just watching this, and waiting, as a large sound can be heard. Many people walking over, as they see Deku, standing in the room surrounded and coded by text. As up in the air, you see a map of the Earth, and X's all around it. As Deku is surprised. That's still there. What's going on? Juno, she just returns, saying that these are all the pieces that are on Earth, that they've activated. Deku just looking in her direction, asking her what does that mean. Everyone looking at Deku for a second, as he basically just follows Juno around the room, looking around, her stating that these are the current locations of the pieces. So, what are you gonna do? The Brotherhood, they've had their own agenda for quite some time. Recover the pieces and study them, as they call it. But can you really be too sure that's what they're doing? Their own motivations might have been corrupted, or even warped. You know that human greed, it is large. Of everyone in the world, you should know this completely. You've seen it in action. The death of your father, and your mother. Whatever happened to her? Deku actually getting a bit annoyed, as the piece would fall into his hand, and he would just grab it, and look at the assassins. They're all staring at him. Everyone's wondering what is going on. Deku just asking one single question that he needs answered now. Where is his mother? Now, with that being said, I'm gonna have to leave this part off of here, guys. I do hope you enjoyed, and if it seemed like I was focusing a bit more on what's going on with Deku and what's in his body, yeah, I'm at least trying to stay on topic. I'm not completely awake right now, and I actually do have the day off tomorrow. So I'll be able to at least get some good sleep and focus on the what if.